Oftentimes before we start a new journey in life, it's because there was a insistent whisper of some kind, a silent call perhaps, and sometimes it's a relentless drumbeat of a world that has sometimes grown too loud, the demands too numerous, and the paths ahead shrouded in uncertainty, in a fog of ceaseless doing, which is not really what life at its highest is all about. There is a tenderness in this yearning that we develop, like a sacred ache that many of us carry, some kind of longing to feel truly present, deeply connected, and authentically ourselves amidst the beautiful, bewildering chaos of life. None of us are alone in this feeling. We all are, in our own ways, navigating the currents of existence, often feeling pulled further and further from the quiet harbor of our own heartbeats. At first in life, we identify with the ego, with the shadow, the false self, or the frightened personality. And that is not somewhere where we should stay. It leaves us blind, not seeing reality as it is. We see life rather with perceptions created in fear. Contemplation is not a call to escape the world at all, but rather to rediscover the sanctuary, the sacred sanctuary within it. And the work of contemplative intelligence is an invitation, like a gentle hand extended to all of us to explore, cultivating our contemplative intelligence. It's the gift, the grace that we have been given to become gods amongst men, to become people who can see with the eyes behind the eyes and hear with the ears behind the ears, as they say, Contemplation is not a rigid discipline at all. It's more of a homecoming. And if you practice it, you'll start to see it's based in the recognition of all ancient and inherent wisdom that resides within you. It's in all of us. It's like a quiet anchor waiting to be found so that we can raise it and set sail in life, because life is a marvelous mystery. It's wonder beyond anything we can think. And without contemplation, we make our lives so small. We go in the wrong direction, chasing money, chasing things that do not matter. I often say that 98% of people are spending 98% of their time on things that just don't matter. Contemplation is the wisdom that beckons us to pause, to get into the gap and breathe, and to remember that you're a sacred vessel. You're a creation of God, of the divine, brimming with untold depths of understanding and compassion, and especially divine connection. That connection, often we don't even realize is there. So you've got to embark on a journey, even a gentle journey, to reconnect, to discover that divine connection and learn all things new. We need to unlearn the distractions that have kept us from the profound truth already nestled within. Every sacred text tells us, points us in the direction of finding our higher, authentic selves, our sacred selves. At some point in life, in the ceaseless turning of the world, we find ourselves adrift. Not once, mind you, often. And it's like being a small boat tossed backwards and forwards on a vast, indifferent sea. And we yearn for an anchor. It's inbuilt, inbred by design, that we want to call to God, to a quiet wisdom to guide us on this incredible journey, this endless, boundless, ceaseless journey that is not meaningless at all, although it can appear so, especially in the beginning, in the first half of life. but there's a longing, like a compass, deep human need for meaning beyond the noise and the clamor. And it's stronger than ever today. So it's not a weakness, but a beacon to reach out and call it quits with hustle and bustle, with being a rat on the wheel. Life calls us all eventually to what I call contemplative intelligence, to the space in between the zeros and ones, that binary system that drives everything around us, the math of the universe. There's so much more. So our innate capacity is to eventually come to realize that we must just stop, pause, and we must do so to listen, to truly be ourselves and connect with the universe, with nature, with God. Contemplation is definitely not a new skill to acquire, but an ancient art to remember, taught by the mystics, monks, and masters, Thomas Merton, Moses, Christ, Buddha, Gandhi, Muhammad. The list goes on, the contemplatives that lived between us. Einstein was one of them. They changed the world, and they're teaching us how to change the world at a time when the world needs change the most. So it's all coming together. A great paradigm shift from fear towards love. I'd say that contemplation is the deep breath before the leap, the quiet observation before the understanding, before the awakening, if you will. In a world clamoring for our attention, this contemplation, the CQ, is the gentle but persistent invitation to reclaim our presence. Eckhart Tolle reminds us of that all the time. We're not even present. We're lost in the anxiety of the future or the depression of the past. How often today do most of us live lives dictated by external expectations? It's ridiculous. I mean, where do we think it's going to get us? We're driven by the noisy demands of others, a kind of people-pleasing that leaves us depressed, alone, addicted, full of shame. So we all run around hurried by this checklist of what we should be, what we should be doing. Contemplative intelligence, on the other hand, offers us a sacred mirror. When we engage in deep contemplation, we step out of the current of external influences and into the quiet chamber of our being, where we can at least be undistracted and so begin to really see ourselves, discover ourselves, not as others perceive us, or as we thought we should be when we were young, innocent and naive, but we start to see ourselves as we truly are. And who we truly are is beings who are becoming. We start off creating a container, a persona, a set of masks, and we list 10 of these masks out. We're codependent, anxious, people-pleasing, perfectionists, and controlling judges, etc. And that keeps us in the race when we need to be, as young children, learning how to participate. But that's not who we really are. So that inner yearning comes calling and beckoning for us, and it starts to say, well, who am I really? And when we can't answer that, oftentimes we begin a spiritual journey of some kind, an awakening, a deeper look into answering that question, a question that we're so afraid of, we can't bear to look at it until we're about halfway through life. Life is a journey of self-discovery, self-actualization, and then God realization. Doesn't matter if you're an atheist or closed-minded or convinced of this or that in your 20s and 30s. I mean, come on. The universe is billions and billions of years old. And you're convinced, because you needed to be convinced. And so the re-looking at reality as it is contemplation. And to contemplate, you need to go beyond all that you can think, all that you have put into boxes, and become a mystic, really. Become somebody who is able to lean into the uncertainty of life. And for most of us, that's not possible until we've transcended the ego. Through this journey of life, we get to differentiate between the superficial layers we accumulate and the core essence of our being, which is godlike, divine. Love. It's not that hard outer shell. People are, in essence, their values, and they're good, they're kind. But when they get frightened, afraid, they feel attacked. And then that persona comes, and we're capable of the worst evil we could even think of. What we've done on this planet is far worse than what anybody can or dares to think. And those are some of the best minds that have ever lived. The gulags in Russia, thought up by the most intelligent people in the country. Racism, separation, sexism, gender bias, thinking black is better than white or white better than black. Nonsense. Garbage. 98% of people spending 98% of history on things that didn't matter. It's not Alexander the Great. It's Alexander the Fool, the jester, the egomaniac. To explain it, maybe I can say that it's like peeling back the layers of an onion, really, this journey, not with tears of sorrow, but with a quiet joy of discovery, because life really is good. Those first few lines in Genesis, in the Old Testament, the Torah. Life is good. The trees are good. The bugs are good. The nature of humanity is good. Very good. And maybe that's all, as William Blake said, we need to know. Beauty, truth, and goodness. But we can't see it after a while. We start to believe that the world is a malevolent, violent, and hostile place. That's the rest of the universe that's buzzing with creation, with supernovas and black holes and all sorts. Here, it's a different story. But you need to look twice. You need to look with contemplative eyes at some point and see the beauty of the journey. The beauty of the metamorphosis from worm to butterfly that we're all taking. So we don't start off as heroes. We go on a hero's journey to discover the hero. At first, there's no courage. We're frightened, defensive, weak. We become victims, and victims, as we know from history, create violent, volatile people. And I deal with all of them in the Center for Healing and Life Transformation in South Africa. When people are afraid, they become victims. They become closed, dark, stressed. And in that space, they can create nothing new. And so life itself is almost paused for a while the innate nature of things wants us to take a pause for a reason so that we can turn around, go in a new direction, go within, not without, and think, do, believe what really matters and fulfill our purpose and meaning, which is to move from fear to love. Every part of us, our body, hearts, and minds are designed that way. Our nervous systems are constantly on high alert in the world today, bombarded by information. Everything inform, far from spirituality. We're hit with deadlines. We have to pass tests and exams, and there's a persistent hum of digital connection everywhere. If the earth had corners, the digital connection would be there. So this chronic state of activation all the time, of no zeros but ones, depletes us. It's not the way it's meant to be. It's not balanced. So it leaves us frayed anxious and often disconnected from the very source of our vitality. The source of our vitality is God. It doesn't matter what you believe. It's something that you need to know. And all you need to do to know is look around and see reality as it is, without the distortions and perceptions based in fear that cloud our vision. So contemplative intelligence serves as a powerful antidote for life. First the snake in the garden, then the bite, and that venom that has run through us for thousands of years. But contemplative intelligence is the antidote. Most people don't realize that there's an antidote for the snake bite. I remember the story of Paul sitting around the fire, being bitten by a venomous snake, and he just shrugged it off. He wasn't going to be a victim. He was on purpose and operating spiritually, where his body and the outside environment did not dictate what happened inside Paul. So in essence, he was completely managing himself properly. And this is the problem today. This is why people come to the center. They are unable to manage themselves. Never mind the world. Never mind speak this universal language of love that needs to be accessed through emerging out of fear. So whenever we engage in practices like focused breathing, contemplative walks, or simply gazing or sitting in quiet reflection, anytime we go to zero, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And that itself initiates the body's natural relaxation response. It gets to zero. That's where God is. That's where meditation is. That's where no thing, no one, no time, no space is, at this 0 point, this omega point. So it's not just a momentary reprieve, being still and knowing God. It's a profound repatterning of our physiological, psychological, and emotional responses to life's challenges. We think we can just keep going. No, we can't. Not without losing our minds, which is the mental health crisis today. But in some ways, losing your mind is absolutely necessary. I call it finding your eccentric self, a self that is off center. Because if you're not off center, you can't see. You can't understand people, places, and things. You're, in a sense, blind when you're operating with the calculating and analytical mind. So through practice, we cultivate eventually a deeper sense of presence. We learn to observe our thoughts, witness them without being consumed by them. Our thoughts are not our being. We're not our thoughts. And when we identify with those thoughts, it's a case of mistaken identity. And we're lost. This detachment, not of indifference, but of gentle awareness, allows us to step back from the whirlpool of constant anxiety and finally gain some perspective. But that perspective is not gained through information. We have endless information today, all of us, with the internet and so on. But you cannot gain perspective with all the information in the world. You just have another question. In between stimulus and response, we become less reactive and more responsive. In other words, we go from powerless to powerful, which, power means action. It's not as though the world becomes less challenging when you practice spirituality or contemplation, but our capacity to meet the challenges that face us grow immeasurably. We build inner radical resilience, finding pockets of calm even amidst the chaos. And our souls lead us forward rather than our frightened personalities. I think our deepest yearning is for God, but for meaning below that transcends the mundane, the meaningless, for a connection to something larger than ourselves. That's what we yearn for, all of us. And if we're not pursuing that connection, we become anxious, depressed, traumatized. Contemplative intelligence is at its heart a spiritual practice, meaning we go within rather than allow ourselves to be dictated to by the environment, the external world. So we take charge. We start to manage ourselves unknowingly at first. That's okay. So we can see the sacred in the ordinary. Nothing changes, but we experience the divine not as an abstract concept, but as a living presence woven into the very fabric of our existence. You get to see grace, beauty, truth before you might not have seen them, even in 40, 50, 60 years, as some people never see it. Contemplation really is a way of seeing reality without cognitive distortions, laced in fear. It's easy to get laced in fear if you cannot see God, see purpose, see meaning. So every one of us is welcome to experience it when we're ready. And when we do experience it, we say things like, I've got it, or I once was lost, but now I'm found. It really is the science of finding your spiritual self, and whether one defines God as a personal deity, a universal consciousness or energy, or the interconnectedness of life even. Cultivating your contemplative intelligence opens that door to the profound experience of being able to conceive the mystery of the Creator. You see, the world and the universe are not only stranger than we think, they're stranger than we can think. And through contemplative intelligence, we move beyond dogma, beyond the boundaries of intellectual, calculating understanding, and we move shifting into direct experience. That's what we're here for. But we're not ready for it in the beginning. We have to practice. We have to open up to get there. So at first we force, race and push and bomb and beat, but it comes to nothing, of course. Who would have thought that it's in the hush of a morning sunrise or the intricate pattern of a leaf, the Pacific Ocean, the shared silence with a loved one, or just the profound solitude of meditation, of being still and knowing God, that allows us to touch the eternal. Wow. We begin to sense the underlying unity of all things, the connectedness, the miraculous intelligence that orchestrates the cosmos. And we discover our own sacred place within it, once lost, now found. This is where the meaning blossoms, where purpose finds itself, and we lay deep, deep roots, and then peace starts to take hold. And we cannot expect world peace if we cannot even be peaceful ourselves. How egoic of us. You want world peace, but you cannot be peaceful yourself? This makes no sense at all. And that is the analytical mind. Egoic by nature, always dualistic, telling others that they are wrong. And in that way, you get a sense of feeling that you're right. Sooner or later, we discover that the divine is not somewhere out there, but intimately woven into the very breath we take. And our frightened personality, persona, or masks are not us. Our thoughts are not us. The body, not us. And to disidentify is to unlearn who you were. And if you can face the question of who am I again, the second time, you're going to get there. You're going to wake up and tread the road less traveled. And it's a road that is a lifelong unfolding, really. It's gentle, but very, very persistent. God wins every time, I say, and we're going to return home to the quiet wisdom residing within us at some point. If it's on our deathbed, then so be it. Life will have it that way. But we can choose change, growth, transformation in a state of suffering and illness, or we can choose it in a state of love, joy, and grace. And we get to pick. That's what the biblical texts and the nature and the mystics teach. They teach us to dare to look within, because the answers are in there for all of us. That's the game. You were looking for the answers you didn't find. You didn't look within. You didn't dare. And life insists it's a daring adventure or nothing at all. In closing, remember that cultivating your contemplative intelligence is not a race to a finish line or some sort of performance that needs to be judged. It's a tender, lifelong process of becoming who you really are, a gentle unfolding of yourself to find the you were always meant to be. Think of it not as adding another task to your already full plate. We all have today, but rather as a subtracting noise, giving you space, making space for the sacred silence where true wisdom blossoms. Got to get to zero. You got to be still to know God. This is the key. Every quiet breath, every moment of conscious presence, every step taken in mindful awareness is a profound act of self-love. And what's required is a compassionate embrace of your own humanity. It is these sacred pauses that help us heal. It is there that we remember our divine essence. And that's how we reconnect with the deep, unwavering love that animates all of life. Faith, hope, and love. But love, starting with self-love, is all that will remain. So carry this quiet strength within you and let your contemplative intelligence be your guiding light. Practice, seek, and then find the steadying hand and the loving heart that naturally illuminates your path forward. You'll never be lost again because you'll always return to the serene and boundless truth of who you are, who you really are. Beloved, chosen, connected, divine. The journey continues for us all through thick and thin. And what we need to know is that we're profoundly equipped to walk it with grace and deep wisdom. Not alone, never alone, always connected to Source. Let's practice contemplation together. Repeat after me. Pause. Breathe and be. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. Namaste.